I'm so bored I just created a YouTube channel. This quarantine sucks. Hey everybody, my name is Ryan and I'm a nerd. I like 3D printing, miniature wargaming, D&D, and video games. So today we're going to be doing something that combines a couple of them. We are going to be 3D printing a base for a model for miniature wargaming. Today we're going to be using Solidworks to design this tile base. The techniques that I use to do this will be able to be transferred to other programs because I know Solidworks is expensive. I get it because of my work, but there are other different programs that you could use, such as Auto 360, which I've never been able to find online for free, which everybody says it is. But if you find that and you know where it is online for free, link it below because I know there's a lot of people looking for that kind of stuff, and it would be good to help that community get out there. So other than that, we're going to go ahead and start designing this. Look out for other things in the future. We're going to be doing dice trays. We're going to be doing dice cups. Lots of things. So we'll get to it.
So today we're going to be making a base for a tabletop miniature. It could be any of them. Typically I play Warhammer 40k or Warhammer Age of Sigmar, so either one this could work. So what we're going to do is hit new. And I'm sorry if you can't see any of the pop-ups that come up. I can't figure out how to have that fully recorded. This is using the Xbox game recorder. I tried using Fraps, as you can see below, but that also doesn't work well. So we're just going to go with what we got. So we're going to hit new part. What we're going to do is we're going to make a circle, because a base is a circle. So we're going to start with the top view. We're going to go to our circle button and make that circle. And we're going to go and make this, we're going to start making this one for a 25mm, like a runt. So sometimes, like, you don't really want to put a lot of effort into hordes that come out there. So like with Skaven or any Nurgle guys or Blades of Corn, things like that. So you don't really want to put a lot of effort into their bases. This is a quick, easy way by using 3D printing to make it really easy to give them a little bit of pizzazz. So we're going to make this 25mm. And then we're going to go over to features, extruded. And I believe they're close to like 4mm or 4.5mm. So I'm going to go with 4.5 just to be sure. And we're going to go from there. So now we got this little small cylinder. We're going to want to actually add a little bit of what is called a chamfer. You can see what this looks like here. So if we click on this little edge here, I know that I want this to be an 18-degree edge, and I don't want it to be that deep. So let's try and get this thing to actually show, because the reason it's not showing right now, or let's go to full preview. So this is what it would look like on this edge. We want to see a little bit more than that. So we're just going to up this. So we don't want to go all the way over. So what we need to know is, okay, this we could do the math SOHCAHTOA and try and figure this out, but it's easy enough for me to go through and just type in, okay, well, what's 0.17 look like? Well, what's 0.18 look like? My guess is 0.18 is going to be bingo right on the bottom. See how it goes there? So when we hit OK, boom, we got this all the way around. There's a couple different ways you can do this. Still, you could, let's get rid of this chamfer real quick, and I will show you a couple different other ways that you can do this. You can do sketch, and you can go and select a plane. So we're going to want to choose the front plane. I have custom settings set up, but I want to show you this. You're going to want to go to normal to that plane. So that's how you do that, by going through this little section here. And then we're going to draw our line. We're going to go and draw here, 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 and here. For those who don't know SolidWorks that well, the ones that are black are pretty much fully defined, or are fully defined, and this one is the only one that can be moved. So we know that we want this to be 18 degrees. So we go here and here with our dimension tool. You can't see where I can modify this because that's one of the pop-ups, but basically I'm just typing in 18 degrees in a different pop-up that came up there. You can modify this through double clicking it, and this piece on the side will show up. It basically gives me the same view as a pop-up that's over it. So then what we're going to do is go and exit and features. Now the way I prefer to do things is swept cut, where you click on the sketch as it says, and then you click on the path by going here, and you hit OK. Let's actually see if we can modify this thing. The only reason I don't like this option is because it leaves some marks on here if it's a full circle. So we can undo that. We have our sketch, and we want to use revolved cut, which is here. So we click on our sketch, and it says that we need, it's choosing the line that we selected when we click the sketch as our axis to rotate everything about. But really we want one that's in the center. And unfortunately, this is the dumbest thing ever, where I can't click like this circle and use it as, my axis. I have to actually create one. So we're going to exit out real quick, go into references, and hit axis. Well, now we can just click the circle and it creates it. And now we have an axis in the middle. Then we're going to go over to revolved cut, click on our sketch just like it had before, but we're going to go in here where it says line. We're going to click axis, hit OK. And just like before, we have our chamfer on the side here. Now moving forward, we're going to try and use a different tool that's specific in SolidWorks. It's called Auto Trace. I am not a big fan of it, but if you pick a simple enough design, it works fine. Otherwise, you can just go on here. Let's say we were going to try and do some tiles, right? We could easily make some tiles. So let's go and get normal to this face. Now we can go, oops, sorry, I have a circle selected. We can just go in here, we can draw a bunch of squares, right? We can go, oh look, I got some tiles. And then I'd have to go through and I'd have to make sure that all of these little lines here are the same size. I'm too lazy for that, right? We want to save as much time as possible. We want to be as efficient as possible. So what I've done is you have to go into here, add-ins, and select Auto Trace. You need to turn that on. Okay, you might have to restart when you do it, but just make sure you save your work at that point. So now what we're going to do, since I already have that on, we're going to go to Tools, Sketch Tools. Oh, see how it's hidden? It's because I didn't hit Sketch. I didn't create one yet. So we're going to click on this face. We're going to hit Sketch. Now that we have a sketch open, then we can go into Tools, Sketch Tools, Sketch Picture. I have a picture here called Tile that I found online. Hit OK. So this is the pattern that it came in. Clearly, this is way too damn big. So if we notice that there's a smaller and a bigger dimension here, we're going to actually change this one to the size of our base. So we're going to go 25 millimeters. And we can change that, and it has a locked aspect ratio selected here, so it helps it keep it there. We want to center it. We can just do that simply by dragging it over. We don't have to set our X or Y values in here. That's way too ridiculous. You don't need to do that much effort. So now what we're going to do is add some transparency. We're going to hit user defined, click in the white area, transparency, matching tolerance. We'll turn that to 1, get as much of this out of here as possible so we can see where we're going. Say, yep, this is good. Or if you wanted to drag your picture over, you could do that here as well. User defined, yes. So when you hit Auto Trace, it allows you to click, it adds this arrow here. And when you click it, it goes over. And what we're going to use is the dropper. Because the dropper is the easiest tool to use. We're going to click on black. And we're going to hit Begin Trace. Now, this is all it shows. So what you can do is adjust these different pieces down here to try and get it so it shows what you want. And okay, so it's not giving us what we want. Well, let's try here. Begin Trace. So now it gave us the outside. Alright, it's a little bit better. We can adjust our different colors and things like that to try and, oh, that was weird. Try and get more and more and more. And then you might be asking yourself, well, Ryan, I could have, drawn all these things. No, you couldn't. It would have been way too slow. You could have done a pattern, but nothing like a pattern like this that quickly. It would just be a waste of time. There we go. So I was clicking on the wrong color for this to use. So then you can change this. Okay, so you know these lines can be as straight as you can make them. Yeah, let's just call it good. Yeah, that's fine. And we'll hit green. And poof, now we have a sketch here. It kicks you out of the sketch, so you do have to go back in. You have to right click on it and hit edit sketch to go back in. Now, here's the issue. These aren't closed off, and I don't want these when I extrude it. I don't want to have it be like this. You know, it's not even on the base. So we're gonna hit X. We're gonna continue to edit our sketch because you're still in that. What we're gonna do is we're gonna convert the top piece into a sketch. So what we can do is click this convert entities to convert. I'm gonna click this little circle here. Hit OK. And now we have this little circle here, and now when we go here, we can go extruded, and we can do this, and it will cut it off at that line. So then we go through and we're like, okay, well, I want all of these. Oh, get rid of that. Go back here. Boom, 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 boom. Go through and click all the ones that we want using your scroll button. If you push down on it, that is a excuse me, the automatic setting for being able to scroll around everything. Roll, I think, is the term that they have. So this is a little big for what I want, right? I want it shorter. So we're gonna go in here. Yeah, I'm gonna set it to I don't know. Let's go with 0.5 millimeters. Hit OK, and we're done. That's what it looks like. Now you can easily go in and go into your sketch, and you can say, you know what, I don't like this small little pieces over here, and I don't like that over here. So I want to move. You can click move. You can click your starting point. And go, all right, well, let's put it, you know, more like this, you know, and then you can redo all of that stuff, and you'll be fine. But we're not going to go do that. We want to keep this just fine. So then we can save. File, save. Day Defeat, non-source version, great game. So this is a 25mm tile base, right? Hit save, and we're solid. Now, on regular GW bases, this is open in the model, and you could figure out, you know, doing a revolved cut, you could cut out the inside of here. I would highly suggest that you don't do that when using an FDM printer, because all of that would just be filled with support, and that would just be garbage because you'd have to tear that all out. So leave it just filled in, fill it with 22% infill, call it good. So then we can do file, save as, and then you can make it an STL, and that'll be allowed to use on, sorry, it gives you some pop-ups, you just have to say yes. And if you didn't see it under the file save as, you just click the file type and you switch to STL. Can't really tell which things this game recorder is actually using or not. I will have to invest in a better screen recorder for these kinds of things. Anyway, so a different option is, let's say you wanted to make this for okay, so all of your like regular small troops, your 25mm base guys, they all have this design, right? You're like, well, I want everybody to match. Well, there's an easy way to do that. You can go into File, Save As, change the title to be 40mm. I know you probably can't see this, so I'm just going to do it real quick. So now you can see at the top it says 40mm tile base. Now what we're going to do is go back and edit what we did before. Go into our boss extrude that we did before. Go into here, type in 40mm. Again, this is a pop-up that comes up. You can change the same thing over here to 40mm. It'll do the same. So it's big. Hit OK, and it'll look really weird for a second here. The way that we did cut revolve stays the same because it's using the top line as a reference tool, no matter what the size is. So then we go into our sketch, and you can see that, you know, the sketch is too small now, right? Now let's get normal to this just to make it easier to see. So one of the things that we need to do is make the sketch bigger. So one of the easy tools that we can do is highlight all this stuff. Go into drop down menu here, hit Scale Entities, scale button on the center, and hit 2 to make it bigger. You can make it, 1. Can make it 1.5. Make it. Let's make it 1.75. Hit OK. And there is an option to make a copy of it. We didn't copy it so that it actually changed the original one to the side, so we don't have to worry about deleting any lines. This is actually the picture that we had before that's under it. So we can exit. It's gonna look weird. Oh, actually it worked. So you can sometimes you'll be missing some. See how this little small piece is here? We don't need that. We can come in and we can hit. Uh-oh. Let's go and get rid of this. You know what? You hit shift and get rid of that stuff, or you can just exit and just not save what you did. Let's try and go back in here and get rid of this, because this is going to be a little bit of a pain if you're when you're 3D printing it. So we don't really want it in there. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to cancel this. So what you can do is you can delete this and make sure it doesn't delete the absorbed features, and just redo your extruded base. So you just have to click. Oh, so it created a different sketch because I didn't click the sketch when I did it. Let's just open the sketch so it doesn't think I'm doing something I'm not supposed to, and click in everything that we want. Boom, 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 boom. We don't want that little piece there, but we'll take this piece. We'll even take this small one here and this small one here. That looks fine. I'm going to skip that one because I don't want that small of a piece on here. We'll just get chipped off and call it good. And poof, now we have a 40mm tile base. We hit save, and we can hit file, save as, and save that. You go to save as type and click STL and hit OK. Alright, so now we're going to switch over to Cura. So now we are in Cura. Ultimaker is the brand name for who makes this. This is sized to fit in my Ender 3. I'm going to end up using PLA. I have it as super quality, which is wrong. This is actually pretty bad quality. It's a print at 0.2 millimeters. Super quality is at like 0.08, but I just kept the settings. Don't worry about all these things. The key pieces is you want 22% infill density, 3 wall line count. Then you want to use adjust your temperatures as what you see on the box. I use inland PLA that you can buy from Micro Center, and I figured out that 210 and 60 works really well for me. We don't need any support for this thing, and we're going to end up doing no build plate adhesion on this because we're printing on glass, and we'll just apply hairspray. You would have thought that we use that. So we're going to hit open. So I got a couple different other files in here. So we're going to go to quick access, click our 40mm tile base, and it comes in. You can see it there. So if it's not in the right orientation, you can do a couple things. You have to select things to modify them. You can, first piece moves it around. You can reset the location by just typing it in. You can scale it. So here's another way that if you made one file, like the 25mm base one that we did before, we made it into this 50. So let's say we wanted to use this file better, or instead, to make a 25mm base. Well, you can just switch this here to 25, and keep it as uniform scaling. Hit enter. Boom. Now you got a 25mm base, but we want to keep it at 40. All right. And so, if you saw me before move this down, you can just use these little tools here, or you can hit select face to align with the build plate. You can just click on it. I think the lay flat tool would work too. Either way, we're fine there. Since I have all these other pieces set up, all we have to do is hit slice. And it says, okay, well, it's going to take 4 grams of PLA and take 30 minutes to print. And then we can hit save to file, or if you plug in your, if you actually are into 3D printing, you have a USB with a micro USB or Wi-Fi or whatever, and you just save it to the printer and go from there. So we're going to hit save to file. We're going to go into 3D objects and just save it. Alright, well, next you'll see a couple screenshots of this printing, and we'll go from there. So, a quick cool thing that you can do is you can actually go into preview. And on the right side you can see how many layers it does. It's going to have 25 layers. You can go down per layer. Oh, so you see how, when I mentioned before, the inside is going to be filled with infill at 20-something%. So you're not wasting a ton of PLA by putting it in there. The one thing I did notice that I do not like, that we're going to probably have to actually go back and change, is this is it for the tile for height. So it's going to do one layer and a second layer, and that's it. So that's going to end up being 0.4 millimeters tall, which I guess is what we asked for there. What you can see is, if, let's say, I change this number here, I'll go to 0.08, right? I'll hit slice again. It takes almost double the time, right? And you can see it does a little bit more there. We might want to increase our size and keep it at 0.2. But I think we're going to just try it as is. Let's just keep it with the 2 layers, and we'll show what it is, and then you can use that to adjust what you would prefer on your own. So let's go from there.
Stuff will work just fine. And with that, our model is done. It took us only a half hour to print it, less than that to design it, and now we can scale this up or down however we may need. I will actually be posting this link in the description down below on Thingiverse. Thingiverse is a free website where you can post a bunch of stuff and download it and print it and call it good. But other than that, if you'd have a different kind of design that you'd like to see, I know I'm going to do a couple more like dice trays and things like that. But if you have something specific you'd like to see, let me know in the comments down below.